What is going on, everyone? I'm your host, Matt Scaletti, and you're stuck with just me today. It's only me, but I have something huge to tell you. It's been 1 year since the Living the Dream podcast began. I want to take this moment to thank you, the listener, the viewer, for being a part of this journey. It's been an incredible year. I hope to have years and years and decades more of this podcast in me. I'm always open to ideas that you have. And I think I'm going to use somebody's suggestion for some upcoming interviews. So I want to say I appreciate all the feedback, positive or negative. I want to hear it all. I want to make this better. I want to add the most value I can to you, the listener. So I want to add value to you today with this 1 year anniversary episode. How am I going to do that? I have learned, I can't even begin to tell you how many different ideas, concepts, secrets, thoughts, takeaways, etc. And I want to just take a moment and give you the three that I've learned from interviewing 35 plus other people, that I've learned from myself, that I've learned through the whole concept of podcasting, in hopes that this will help you wherever you are in your journey in life, whether it's podcasting, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's you're a 9-to-5 employee, it doesn't matter. I want you to take something away from this. So let's jump right in. I'm not wasting any more time. We're going for it. Here we go. Number one, there's only three things I'm going to give you. Number one, everyone that I've interviewed, including myself, I didn't interview myself, but I've been on the podcast for a while. Everyone that I've interviewed has had at least one major setback, from Olympians to CEOs, to entrepreneurs, to YouTubers, to social media marketers, to professional speakers. It doesn't matter what area of life the individual is in. We're going to have setbacks. We're human beings. Here's the difference. Most of the time, the people I've had on the show have the setback, whether it was last year or 10 years ago or 20 years ago, they made a decision. And the decision was they would not let that setback define them. They will use that setback as a setup for a breakthrough in the future. That's the only difference right there. That's the only difference, is how you react to the setback. I got news for you, and I'm talking to myself too. You're not unique in your setback. Here's what I mean. Whatever you're feeling right now, if it is a tough setback, I guarantee you somebody's had it before. I use this as motivation for myself. I used to tell myself, wait a second, nobody's had this much problem and issue with alcohol in their life. There's a reason AA was developed. There's hundreds of thousands of people that have struggled, but I felt like I was alone. That wasn't the case at all. There was thousands of people that were dealing with what I was dealing with. My point is, if the problem has been solved before, if you've had a similar setback as somebody else and they've conquered it, what's that mean? That means that you can conquer the same setback. Then I started reading books and thought, oh my goodness, how many people have overcome alcoholism, drug addiction, opioid addiction, whatever addiction it was, they overcame it. That gives me hope. I can do it if others have done it. Same goes for you. Whatever that setback is you're dealing with currently, if anything, small or large, I can almost guarantee you somebody's dealt with it and overcome it, so you can do the same. That's a huge, huge takeaway that I learned. And really, that was probably the biggest takeaway I learned from all the interviews I did. There's like 48 different takeaways we could go into, but that was one of the biggest ones. None of them were perfect. None of them I interviewed just went straight to the top, boom, easy peasy. No. Most of them had more than one setback, whether it was an injury or it was a self-esteem, beating themselves up issue, or it was just failure after failure, but not quitting, not giving up after 4 failures, 48 failures, 480 failures. You keep going, and they're not failures if you learn something. Fail forward, keep learning, growing, and figuring out a way to make it work. That was a huge takeaway. That's number one. Everyone had a major setback. So the key is to just never quit. If you don't quit, if you never quit, you cannot fail. If you never give up, you cannot fail. How could you fail? You keep trying new things. You're learning, you're growing, you're making moves. You can't fail because eventually you're going to get it figured out. Do not quit if it's something you're truly passionate about and you want like you've never wanted anything else in your life. Number 2 is one internally for myself, but I hope you get a takeaway from this. Just start. What does that mean? Just start. I don't care what it is. Think about something right now that you've been thinking about for 1 month, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. What is it? Have you been thinking about starting a podcast? Have you been thinking about starting a YouTube show? Have you been thinking about starting your Instagram account, your TikTok account? Have you been thinking about starting a business? Have you been thinking about starting a side hustle selling jewelry? Have you been thinking about buying and selling baseball cards? Have you been thinking about going to flea markets and flipping stuff on eBay and Amazon? Just start, because I can tell you from interviewing others and myself personally, once you start and you start getting small wins in whatever it is, in my situation, it was fitness, it was cutting out alcohol. And every day I went without alcohol and I got healthier and my energy started to go up and I started feeling amazing. You build the momentum. And once the momentum is going, look out, you are unfreaking stoppable. Unstoppable. You think about that snowball that's like a little pebble at the top of the hill, and then it rolls down the hill and it keeps building bigger and bigger and bigger. By the time it's at the bottom of the hill, it's like a massive boulder. That's you. You just start. It's a little pebble. Maybe it's an idea. And then you build momentum. Maybe you meet somebody that can help take you to the next level. And it builds momentum, bigger, bigger, bigger. And once the momentum is going, momentum is a powerful beast that is often unstoppable. Because when you build momentum and you have that little setback, the momentum's flowing. You're not going to let a little setback stop you. Boom, you're going to pound right through that. So that's a huge takeaway from me to you, is just start. I sat on this podcast idea for at least 8 months. I didn't start it. I should be on year 2, almost done with year 2 by now. I don't beat myself up for that. I just try to help you use that mini mistake I made to get yourself to start whatever it is you're trying to start. If it's a weight loss program, if it's running a 5K, if it's a business, if you want to write a book, it doesn't matter. Just start and start getting small wins so you can build that momentum and take yourself to wherever you ultimately want to go. I often, when I do speeches, I use this example. It's called 3, 2, 1, go. My wife and I were in New Zealand a couple of years ago. We went bungee jumping capital of the world. Here's the point. I was scared to death to do it, but I also could not wait to do it. Okay. Here's all they told us. First off, they told us that nobody's died doing it, which was very good information to know before you're about to hurl yourself off a bridge. But the second thing is they said 3, 2, 1, go. That's all they said. That's all you needed to know. 3, 2, 1, go. And on go, you leaned over or you kind of pushed yourself off this little ledge and you jumped off a bridge. That was it. 3, 2, 1, go. And my point is, if I could use 3, 2, 1, go to jump off a bridge in one of the most frightening but exhilarating, amazing moments of my life, you can use 3, 2, 1, go to make the phone call that you need to talk to somebody to start the podcast, to build your website, to start the Instagram page, whatever it is. 3, 2, 1, go, and just get yourself in motion. Once you get yourself in motion, then you get the emotion behind it. Then you get excited. Then you build the momentum. And then before you know it, the ball is rolling and you're weeks into this venture and you're just enjoying yourself, learning and growing, making mistakes, learning from those, growing from those, and moving forward. So number 2 is just start. Just start. Number 3, I never learned this as much as I did with this podcast. And here's the takeaway. Just ask. Or maybe better said, do not be afraid to ask. Do not be afraid to ask for what you want. What does the Bible say? Ask and you shall receive. Ask and you shall receive. Or said a different way, if you do not ask, you will never receive, right? What's the worst somebody can say to you if you ask? The worst is actually no. Or you could say the worst is they ignore you. Either one. That's the worst. And I'm using this example of myself and what I've learned because through this podcast, of the 35 plus, I think it's going to be close to 50 people I've interviewed, I only knew personally maybe 10 at the most. The rest were random Instagram messages, Facebook messages, emails through a website, etc. I did not know the people. Here's what I'll tell you. I'll be completely 1000% honest with you. I love to get people that are the best in their field or just way up there in their field, because why else would I want to share somebody's knowledge if they're not extremely good at what they do? I respect you more than that. I respect you so much. I want to get the best people in front of you, or why else would I share the information? If I get somebody mediocre, that means you get mediocre value. That means you do not learn, you do not grow, and neither do I. I wanted to get the best. So in order to get the best, what does that mean? That means I had to get a lot of no's and mainly a lot of ignores, just didn't hear back. I probably messaged to get 40 or so people on that I did not know. I probably messaged between email, Instagram, Facebook, calling, whatever, 1,000 different people. This is no exaggeration. I probably heard back from about 10% of those. So let's say 90 or 100 people. And about half of those said yes. Half said no. And I respect that. That's okay. Normally it was a time issue, whatever. So that's how many people. I had to reach out to 1,000 people to get 30 or 40 people on the show. So that means I dealt with 95% rejection rate, but it's a game. It's a game. And I'm a believer that if you see life in this business and podcasting as a game, then if I get a no or a rejection, it's not a big deal. If my perspective is life is a battle or life is a competitive nature war, and I get some no's or rejection, I might curl up into a ball and never do anything again. So I like to see life as a little more lighthearted. I don't take myself so seriously, as I'm sure you've noticed over the last year. And I take those rejections or no's as learning experiences, or just it's a numbers game. That's okay. So what? How many people reach out to me and I don't respond, or I say no? A lot, because you have to respect your time, and I respect them for respecting their time. They don't know me. I'm coming out of nowhere. I'm blessed to get the 30 or 40 people that have been at the top of their game on the show so they can reach out to you and add value to your life. So those are the three main things. I wanted to hit you with that real quick. I didn't just want to do a celebratory episode, even though that would be fun as well, but I wanted to add value to you. So the top three things I've learned over the last year, and I think I'm going to do another episode where I do 4, 5, and 6, because there's so many takeaways I've written down over the year. Everyone has at least one major setback. The key is to not let the setback punch you to the ground. You got to get back up if you truly want to succeed. Number 2, just start. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. As long as it's something positive and good you want to do, just start, get some small wins, build the momentum, and then the sky is not even the limit. You can blow through the sky. Number 3, do not be afraid to ask. No matter what it is, don't be afraid to ask within a little bit of reason, but you will not get anything if you don't ask for it. I truly hope that added some value to you. I want to say thanks to 2 incredible people. Lisa, number 1, who connected me with Amanda, who is the individual behind the scenes that makes this podcast go. I'm the person in front of the camera. She's behind the camera. She's doing the editing. She's making sure the sound is perfect. Amanda, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Without you, this whole show doesn't happen. Lisa, I appreciate meeting you about 1.5 years ago. You connect me with Amanda, people helping people, great things happen. And I want to thank you as well, the listener, the viewer. Without you, I wouldn't keep making these. So I appreciate the feedback, positive or negative. Let me know if we're adding value, how I can better add value to you as well. I want to know that. I appreciate you listening. Let's go another year strong. And then 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, 50 years. That'll put me at 87. I'll still be rocking this thing out at 87. If you're still listening, I'm still creating. I should use that. That's a little tagline. If you're still listening, I'm still creating. I crack myself up sometimes. You have a blessed, safe, happy, healthy day. Check me out on Instagram at Matt Scaletti. reach out to me. I'm always happy to answer any questions and build a relationship with you. I hope we can stay connected. I hope you keep listening. I hope to keep adding value to you. We will talk soon.